We ready? And welcome back to the hot seat with Mr. Ryan Hanley and Marcus Sheridan. That's me. That's him over there. This is recorded in front of a live studio audience on the Blabosphere. And this is the show where people can actually interact and engage with the hosts, especially if you strongly agree or disagree. If you're listening to this on Podcast Landia right now, we welcome you. iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud is where it's going to be here shortly as we post these episodes. Mr. Hanley, you feeling pretty good today? You ready to talk a little bit about this and that and this and like that?
I feel very good today. I am ready to go.
So, Hanley, we always start off with telling everybody what's on your mind. Tap
Yes.
your brain, kid. So let's
Yeah.
tap your brain first. You get us started, even though you might have been tapping already as I had technical difficulties getting in today. But now I'm non-technically challenged.
Yeah,
Let's do
I
this.
used
What's on your
my
mind?
I used my tap your brain already, but so I'll give you a different one. There is a horrifying feeling when you realize that every bit of work you've done in the last 2.5 years is on a little tiny box made of wires and plastic and a little bit of metal. And if for some reason your keyboard stops working and you can't get into that little box, you are essentially useless as a functioning adult. Like there's just all of a sudden my keyboard stopped working on my plane ride to DC about 3 days ago, and I had budgeted that time to like kind of finish up and dust up my presentation because it was kind of workshop style was what I was doing, and yep.
So we got a rookie traveler move here, kid.
Yeah.
All right, rookie.
Super rookie. I learned a valuable lesson.
Rookies take one device with them for typing.
Yep.
Itinerants, like myself, we take two devices.
Well.
So, Hanley, you always have 2 keyboards, 2 laptops. Wherever you go, 2 power cords, 2 of everything, sir. Yep. Now that you know this, you won't make this mistake again.
Yep. This was a valuable. This was a learning lesson for me. I learned. And I am already making plans. Amazon has already been contacted about the equipment that they need to deliver to my house to make sure that this isn't an issue again. Amazon has already been contacted. So
let me tell you what's on my mind. ESPN is driving me crazy. It's not about sports, though. It's not about sports, everybody. I went to watch a 10-second commercial. Highlight today, and they wanted me to watch a 30-second commercial to watch a 10-second highlight. Now, look, I posted this on the Twitters. And what did people want to do? Well, this one gal, she wanted to say, oh, Marcus, they got to pay the bills, you know. Okay, so are you telling me that if somebody wants to have a 30-minute TV program, you can have an hour and a half worth of advertising?
Mm-hmm.
The ad itself shouldn't be 3 times the length of the thing that you want to watch. Yep. Hit me up with a quickie 3-second commercial with the brand shot, something in my face. That's fine, ESPN. But for the love of Pete, I don't want to watch a 10-second video, but have to watch for that, pay the price with a 30-second commercial slot. I think ESPN's website has hit the pooper in a big-time way.
I think ESPN has hit the pooper in a big time way, to use your vernacular there. I have a feeling that, and I know they have some changes going on. We talked a little bit a couple episodes ago, again, not about sports, just about the way they are handling their content creation, distribution, and specifically the way that they're using and abusing, from my standpoint, their talent, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know about you, to replace Colin Cowherd with Doug Gottlieb is like, just tell me that you don't care anymore. Just tell me you don't care. Just tell me you don't care. I get that Doug Gottlieb will read whatever piece of advertising as many times as you want on his show, and that he is shock jock light to Colin Cowherd, or I get that he like fits the little shock jock template. Like someone went, okay, we need a shock jock in that time. So okay, check. We'll read every advertisement as many times as we want. Check. Okay, we're going to put it, does anyone like him? Doesn't matter. He's on the radio, right? So it's like, it just is, it's unbelievable to me what they're doing. The 30-second thing is crazy. They've upped you can't read an article on their site unless you're an insider now that's valuable at all. And it just is like, to me, someone is thinking, they're going, we need to monetize, and they've just given up all the things that made their show good. I just,
it's anti-UX, man.
yeah.
And you look, I'm not sitting here saying it should be free, but for the love, let's try to be sensible at least.
Yeah.
So that's good stuff, Mr. Hanley. Good stuff. All right. News for nerds. News for nerds. This is when we talk about anything that's techie, or maybe not as techie as strategy, maybe something like that that's on our mind. A couple minutes on this little section here, Mr. Hanley. What is on your mind? Any news for nerds?
You know, I was thinking about this one, and there's been some different stuff out there. This isn't news for nerds like stats or new tool related in that way. There was an article about Mark Zuckerberg and his maturation as a CEO on Fast Company that came out this week. And if you haven't read it, I don't have the link. I'll try to figure it out for the show notes when we eventually get that put together. But this article is fantastic. And I don't know how much of it is propaganda. It could or could not be. I don't know. I know the author seemed fairly enamored by the access that he had to Zuckerberg and Facebook, and that's perfectly fine. I thought the author did a very good job. It's incredibly long and detailed, but what I found really interesting about it was how this author really dialed into Zuckerberg's maturation and made fully out in the open, which we're all kind of aware of, that to a certain point, he was kind of an uber douche when he was young, right? I mean, he really was. And when I was 23, and if I was in his situation, probably would have been similar in many regards. But to get to where he is today, and I think you can honestly today put him on a list of CEOs, top 100, top 500, I don't know. But he has put himself in a position where he is making truly calculated, mature decisions about this company, and take out, is it in the best interest of this person, that person? For the growth of his company, I feel like he is making a lot of really quality decisions and has come 180 degrees from where he was in terms of his leadership abilities inside that company. And it's just an incredible read. I read it, the entire thing once, and went back and reread some sections. It's really, really good.
Zuckerberg elevating his game.
Yeah. It up,
you know what?
It up.
He was kind of like the Justin Bieber of techie, like startups, like billionaires, right? And he really has. Hey, and even Bieber's making a comeback.
Yeah,
My stinking daughter, she tells me, Dad, I'm a Bieber. I'm a believer. And she hates the guy, right? But all of a sudden she tells me this last night, Dad, I'm a believer. I'm like, what the heck happened? How'd you start liking this? I said, his new album's amazing. You got to love comebacks, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to love comebacks. So Hanley, I got one for you here. I'm going to put a link in the sidebar here for those that are watching. So everybody knows that I am a HubSpot fan.
No.
That being said, I think the one place where HubSpot may be struggling is that they keep adding features, kind of like Salesforce has done, which causes the price to go up and up and up and up. And so at some point, you start to price yourself out of a certain percentage of the market, a lot of the market, right? Yeah. A lot of people can't really afford $1,000 a month, which is the average spend roughly. I don't have that as an exact for something like a HubSpot. And so that being said, I found a company that I think is perfect for businesses that are doing less than $1 million a year, or businesses that can't necessarily afford something like a HubSpot. It ain't an Infusionsoft, because I think they're too complicated and they're really just a really good email tool. This company here, Hatchbuck.com, Hanley, you should check them out.
Yeah, I am.
They really understand who they are. So, simple sales and marketing software for small businesses. Look, Hanley, they see there is an opportunity in the marketplace. We want simple. We want sales and marketing. We need it to have a CRM. And we need it to handle things like email and give us advanced lead intelligence. Hatchbuck is doing that. Mega props to them. I'm liking this company. I'm watching this company. I'm paying attention to them. So I think HubSpot was in that space. They got so big they left that space, and I think Hatchbuck might just fill that void, which is a huge void right now. By the way, huge void.
Yeah. Have you had any experience with Active Campaign?
No.
Okay, check them out too. I would love to get because your knowledge and depth of knowledge in this space is way past mine. So I would love. I mean, I've had you give 2 demos now to my team. We're actually in our third 2-hour conversation is coming up next week as we walk through what our platform is going to look like as we start to get a better handle for it. It's Marcus knows because I've explained this to him many times as I try to think through this. Through multiple different managers in both tech, product, and our sales and marketing teams have pieced together this hodgepodge of tools, which does not work. And it is a serious roadblock for our success today. We're looking through multiple tools. HubSpot is one of those tools, but the God's honest truth we have 100,000 contacts today. And, at the end of 2013, I'm hoping to triple that for that side of our business. I mean, that prices, it makes that price almost completely out of the market.
Makes it difficult. And this is what bothers me about like a lot of these, but Salesforce does the same thing, right?
Yeah.
They price per contact.
Yeah.
And this is exactly why HubSpot developed the CRM, because they could do that. Because if you're adding more contacts and making it easy, like all the tools that they have now for, say, like Sidekick for Gmail, where you can, from your Gmail interface, you can send out an email and you can add that person immediately into your CRM.
Yeah.
It's nice, right? But it shoots up the total number of contacts, which eventually sends more money that way. More money. One could argue about this all day long.
Yeah.
Interesting company. Check them out if you're looking for something that is a lot less than HubSpot, but perfect for, looks like, small businesses. I'd say less than $1 million a year. Hatchbuck.com. Next section of our podcast today, Mr. Hanley, is DDYST. Dude, did you see that? So this is when we talk about anything that we thought was incredibly interesting or unique or just whatever from the previous week. Mr. Hanley, you seeing anything that has interested you, sir?
You go first on this one. I'm interested to hear where you're at.
Well, I don't have really a great one this week. I just wanted to report on one thing, Hanley. I was in Africa last week, and South Africa. Went there with my daughter, and you can of course follow her at travelingwithdad.com. But it was an amazing experience. Let me just say this one thing. It is one thing to go to a zoo, Hanley. It is another thing to literally see the animal in the live. We had a leopard walk right up to us. Leopard is a beautiful, magical, majestic animal. It walked up
or something. I saw this picture on Facebook. What was between you and the leopard?
Nothing. This is what's crazy. You're sitting in a little Land Rover. You're just sitting there, and the animals can walk up to you. And if they want to jump in the cab, they can. Now, they're used to humans, granted, but notwithstanding, it is an exhilarating. We saw a whole den of lions. We saw cheetah, which is extremely rare. We watched the cheetah for like 20 minutes. It's crazy. Hyenas, they really do kind of look like they did in The Lion King. They are that ugly. So it was an amazing experience. But here's what's interesting to me, too. South Africa is way behind right now when it comes to digital. And I'm telling you, anybody in that country that's embracing content marketing the right way and that truly is able to show and tell, because no longer just tell your story, right, Hanley? It's show and tell your story online. Anybody that can do that can really dominate, and they have done that very, very well. So huge props to anybody that's doing that. But like I said, South Africa and most of their businesses haven't done that very well. People think all the time that we're so far along with this thing called digital. We're not very far along. No. We got a long ways to go. We've got a lot of buy-in yet to gain, Hanley. And I see that every time I go to another country, I'm like, people pick on the U.S. Even people from the U.S. pick on the U.S. Like the U.S. is so behind in all these things, which I don't believe to be true. I love my country. Sure, certainly we can have a better train system, but when it comes to a lot of elements of digital, we're doing pretty good. Okay, we're doing all right.
Well, our train system is run is run by socialists. That's why it's not it doesn't do well.
Where did you get that one? Where's that from?
We'll just let that one lie. So did they have like an elephant gun on the Leopard?
You can't have a gun.
So here's what happens.
You can't shoot the animals.
So what happens if the leopard jumps in the car? It's just you're the leopard food. If the leopard decides that day it's hungry, you're done. That's just the price of admission. You get a knife or something? Do you have any way to
get nothing? You get nothing. Amazing. Go on a safari to Kruger National Park in South Africa. It'll change your whole life.
Wow. I saw that picture. Yeah. It's funny. It's funny that you talk about the leopard being so close. A big issue where I'm at in Albany, New York is mountain lions because no one hunts anymore. The areas that used to be actually, 15, 20 years ago, the Forestry Service was saying, we're not going to have deer anymore. All the game is going to be hunted out of the woods. 20 years later, they're like asking you to plow through the deer when you see them standing in the road because there's just too many of them. And what's happening is aggressive cats from the Adirondacks that would never come down this far because they never needed to, nor if they did, that was their game for them to eat, are now starting to come down into like reasonably populated areas. And mountain lions are badass. I can't even imagine a leopard. Like my buddy caught a glimpse of a mountain lion on his hunting camera, and I said, if I ever saw that thing in the woods, I'd be dead.
Yeah,
I'd be dead. I mean, that thing.
You better teach the Duke some self-defense,
some taekwondo self-defense or something. Weight shift. Okay, let's talk about something fun. So I read. Let's move on to the crux of this thing.
That's crux.
I read a really cool article this week from Buffer, and it was called Buffer's Marketing Manifesto.
They produce good stuff, by the way. I'm impressed with them and their content.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, they do an incredible job.
It's like they're transparent. I love their transparency.
Yeah. I think that Leo has done an incredible job. I think that they have had a bunch of different wins in different ways. And what I really appreciate about them just following their work is how they're constantly reinventing themselves. And sometimes in very large ways, sometimes in just small ways, but they're always thinking about how can we better serve the people who come to this site and create that connection that makes them want to become part of our business or at least try out their business. And they have a phenomenal model where, most of the really nice features of Buffer are free. And then, the features that you pay for are really for power users so they can focus on serving their power users while still providing a free tool. I mean, it's a great business model, and I'm assuming they're profitable because they've been in business this long. But I think he's their CEO, co-founder and COO, Leo Widrich. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah. Wrote a manifesto internally that they published this week externally. So he had originally written it to his staff, and I'm going to put this link in the show notes here so that people can read it when they want. But basically, I just want to read the first. It's like 3 paragraphs. It can't be more than 100 words, but I just want to read this because I think it's phenomenal. And it's really where my head has been at as, part of my discussions I've had with you, Marcus, about HubSpot are reinventing what Trusted Choice is doing and how we view our content and the quality of our content and what its purpose is on our site. And I was immediately captured by this. So this is just the few words. And if this is boring, just deal with it for a second. Treat every piece of content, every tweet, every Facebook post, every CTA, that's call to action, every press outreach email with the utmost care. there needs to be a bit of an internal struggle when we hit send or publish. If we don't feel it, I don't think it'll be good enough. This shouldn't be confused with perfectionism. We want to push things out with consistency and without lingering. This is about self-discipline to go through that struggle, even if it's felt ever so slightly every single time. We don't want to become churners that churn out posts or tweets or what have you. Every single piece of content is the only one that matters. So he goes on to say a few more things.
That's some solid stuff there, bro.
But you don't have to read anymore. I mean, that bit right there is, I think, where we're getting to. And there's been this whole like reemergence of Mark Schaefer's content shock because BuzzSumo came out with a study that showed Copyblogger, Buffer, and one other big site's referral traffic from social media dropped in half over the course of the last 6 months or something. So there's all this, so then all the content shock got reinvigorated. And I read that and I feel like, I think, so this is where I go. This is my question to you and where I would like to take this topic today is, did those sites become churners to a certain extent? I love Copyblogger. I love Buffer, but I get
I don't think so. No, I'm gonna tell you right now. Yep. I don't think so.
Okay.
I just think that we're not so like obsessed with having to share stuff these days. And there's a difference between content shock and like share fatigue. Maybe we need to write a blog post that gets tweeted 4 billion times like the shock one did that just says share fatigue.
Yes.
Used to be really cool to share.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So this is what here's my position, and I'm glad that you said that. And I was kind of hoping you were going to say something stupid so then I could tell you this, but you're on it. There's a reason we do this show together. So it is not cachet anymore to share. I think this whole BuzzSumo thing, though the data is amazing, and BuzzSumo does, and I really respect BuzzSumo for the research that they do, right? They do good, solid research, and I think they have a great tool in many respects, kind of used the right way. But this is what I think people are missing, is that how can we at one time say that sharing isn't a true indicator of content marketing success, which I think any content marketer worth their weight would tell you, right? But then use sharing as a validator for the oversaturation of a market. Like, to me, that argument doesn't make sense. You're at one hand, you're telling me this metric doesn't matter to success. And on the other hand, you're like, this metric is telling us that we're all screwed in terms of content marketing. So I think it's a load of bullshit. Like, I just think it's a nonsensical argument for the purposes of capturing eyeballs. It doesn't really, it doesn't make any sense.
I'm totally feeling you on this. I think this is a great conversation. And this is a big time trend, bro. And I think it's pretty cool that you brought it up today because a lot of people are going to freak out, right? And even Buffer has talked about their buffer and their stuff is, like being shared less. So here's what because socially stuff is getting shared less, you see people trying to produce more. Yeah, right. A lot of these companies have gone towards more. It's so funny to me, Hanley, how the answer to the issue is just more and more and more. Social Media Examiner does 2 a day. I was like, all these do 5 a week, or everybody's doing more. I don't know if I have any of the answers, but I can tell you this, that I share. It's no different than we stopped commenting like crazy birds 2 years ago. We went through this 18-month phase online where comments was treated like it was literal like revenue or something.
Yep.
And you were trading it around like Bitcoin money. And then all of a sudden we all realized, you know what? I don't have to comment. I just don't have to. It's okay if I don't. It's okay if they don't comment on mine. It's okay if I don't comment on theirs. Yada, 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 yada. And the same thing is happening socially right now, right? So we are realizing that we just can't share things all day online and come close to maintaining our audience, or that we just realize it's not the same like excitement that it was before. And that's okay. It's okay that we are evolving. It doesn't mean the stuff is hitting the fan.
Yes. So there's a couple things here. I think that this has to do with the idea of the human filter, right? So we have become our own filtering system. I don't want to see in Marcus Sheridan's
cool phrase. Good phrase, man.
17 articles that you've read today, right?
Yeah.
I don't think people want to see from me 17 articles that I like today. I think that me as a consumer, I have my way of filtering, right? I actually really like LinkedIn Pulse for I think LinkedIn messes up a million things. Their app, LinkedIn Pulse, is really dialed into the type of articles that I like. So I use that. I have some emails that I get. There's a couple people that I get emails from. I don't need to see, occasionally you find an article that you absolutely love that resonates and speaks with you. Yes, hit the tweet button, share it out. And if I see it and I see that you shared that, amazing. I'm going to check that out. But I don't need you to be my filter for me. I don't need anyone to be my filter for me. I'm building my own filter based on how I consume content. And I think that everyone's doing that. And I think because people feel that way, it's almost a natural thing is for me not to hit the tweet button on every single article that I read or every single, share every post that I think has value into my social stream. Now, what I may be doing is linking to it. I may be writing an email newsletter about it. I may be bringing it up on a podcast, but I'm not just blasting my market with every article that I think that has value anymore. To me, it serves no purpose.
Yeah. Well, it's a good point, Hanley. It's a good point, and we're going to keep our eyes on this prize. And I think it's a great trend to talk about, and I think we can actually probably finish this episode right there because we're trying to keep things along the lines of 30 minutes, and we will actually be able to do that today. So we'll be talking about this more. We'll be talking about a lot more. And there's so many, here's what's cool about doing this with you. There's so many things that I want to talk about, but because we want to try to get this as a 30-minute podcast, we really want to get it specific, talk about trends like we did. Yeah. I'm going to stop it right there. And I'm going to close this episode out and thanks everyone for listening. We certainly appreciate you joining us on the hot seat. And until the next time, everyone continue to rock those interwebs.
Be good, everyone.